Most arguments about evolution never actually touch the original scientific papers. They argue about conclusions without ever looking at the sources. So, I want to try something a little bit different. Whenever I hear people talk about evolution, especially nowadays, it usually turns to absolutes. Either evolution explains everything or it explains nothing. Either faith is threatened or questions aren't allowed. But these absolutes don't tell the whole story, and historically, that's not even how these ideas arose. They came about slowly, unevenly, and with far more uncertainty than we admit today. So instead of looking at evolution as the mostly controversial theory it is today, I want to see what we can find in the early stages of evolutionary theory. That means reading the early books, the fossil records, the geological papers, not the conclusions, not the debates, the sources themselves. Each episode, I'll bring one primary source to the table. We'll look at what it actually says, what questions it tries to answer, and what assumptions it seems to rely on. Then I'll propose how this source has been interpreted by at least two opposing viewpoints, not to see who wins, but to understand why rational people can read the same source so differently. From here, I open it up to you to see what you think, to explore the source with me and see what we can find. The goal is a discussion, not a lecture. I should say this clearly. I'm not neutral. I'm a Christian, and with that, I will bring my own theological bias to the mix. But the problem is not having a bias, it's pretending like we don't. And the fix to bias is not less of it, but more of it. So, if you read these sources differently than I do, whether you're a Christian, atheist, scientist, or just generally curious, I need you here. Disagreement isn't a problem for this channel, it's part of the process. The comments aren't an afterthought, they're part of this project. Every other week, I'll host a live discussion where we'll walk through a source together and answer questions and interpretations from the comments. Sometimes that discussion will clarify things, and sometimes it'll just expose how complicated things really are. I don't claim to be an expert in any of these subjects, but I don't think that should keep me from making my own conclusions. And I don't think that should keep you from making your own conclusions either. So here's my invitation. What's one question about evolution or faith in science that you've never felt allowed to ask? What's one conclusion that you've seen drawn from the sources that you're not sure quite follows? Put those in the comments. Those comments will shape where this series goes. If you're looking for certainty, this probably isn't the right channel for you. But if you're willing to read sources carefully, sit with disagreement, and think things through together, you're welcome here. So, let's discuss.